Hi, this is guitarist Dennis Tafe, and I'm in my home studio, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Bargain Bin Gear. Alright, please forgive me, it's kind of hot, so I have a fan going over here, which the camera audio will probably pick up, but in any case, now, these days, there are all kinds of little mini heads, amp heads being sold. Alright, and for those who don't know, an amp head is basically a guitar amp minus a speaker. Simply enough. Okay, and they're usually low wattage tube heads. And so low wattage is usually anywhere from 1 amp, right, or 1 watt to about 15, 20 watts, somewhere in there. Alright, so kind of mini heads, and there are some by Marshall, Fender, Vox, on and on and on. Tons of them. Then Joyo makes hybrid heads and so on and so on and so on. Okay, and well, so you need a speaker cabinet to power those, right? And you could go with a 4x12 cabinet, which has 4 speakers in it, and is gigantic, so you can hardly carry it around. Almost impossible, to carry it around easily anyway. So then you've got the 2x12, which is very nice, but it's also really big and bulky. So obviously that leaves the 1x12, which is one 12-inch speaker. And that's the thing, even those come in different sizes, for one thing. So I was kind of looking around and seeing, maybe I could find one that would be decent. Okay, so in any case, since the amp head is small, you would assume you would want a cabinet that's equally as small but decent, right? And here's where you got to be careful. A lot of times, some manufacturers will put in real cheap, junky, no-name speakers in their small cabinets, right? Because it's less expensive for them, but the sound is junk. Terrible, right? So I was just looking around and I came across something called the Vox Night Train V112NT guitar speaker cabinet. Weighs in at just 24.2 pounds, right? And it comes with a G12M Greenback Celestion ceramic speaker, 12-inch. What's not to like? I mean, right? And as I looked at it more closely, it's a G12M, but it's actually voiced to Vox specifications. And so what they did is they added a little bit of more, what they say on their website, broad mid-range attack and restrained top end to give a forward punchy attitude to chords and searing lead tone without fizz and well-controlled low end. Wow. Okay, so anyway, a G12M Greenback Celestion speaker, right? The 16 ohm, it's a 16 ohm cabinet, 16 ohm speaker, right? Well, the G12M new, if you were to buy that speaker new, is about $150, right? And so I mean, it's a quality speaker to say the least. Now, its maximum handling capacity is about 25 watts, right? But I tell you what, don't let the 25 watts fool you. I mean, this speaker can handle quite a bit, and it's perfect for these small amp heads, tube amp heads and things, right? And I think they've been discontinued now, but you can still find them around, and you know, you can find them probably for about $150, including the cabinet, right? If not less than that, you know. So you're basically getting the cabinet for free. And so let me show it to you here. And it's pretty cool, really, to have a small 1x12 cabinet, you know, where you don't want to lug around a big 2x12 or 4x12 cabinet. So here it is, and let's see if we can get a look at that. Here it is. Right, there it is. So we've got a handle, rounded corners there, real nice. Got the Vox Grandma Purse grill there. Right, that's what it looks like. You get used to it. And then the interesting part is on the back. Very simple. Of course, input jack. And there's the speaker. See that? See how it's green? Right? Green Celestion Greenback. Right? 25 watt, 16 ohm speaker. So it's kind of an open back, right, cabinet. Now, it's real handy, you know, to have around if you ever run across or own some small heads and things. This will be a perfect cabinet, and you're going to get a quality sound. And here's one thing, construction-wise, right, it's really built like a Vox. In other words, it's very, very solid. You know, it's a ceramic speaker, and it's this is just MDF or whatever, right? It's not pine or anything like that, but it's very, very solid, right? Nothing's worse than getting a cheap 1x12 speaker cabinet, and you know, go, oh yeah, sounds okay, and then you plug it in and turn it up a little bit, all of a sudden it starts buzzing and crackling, you know, because it's not solid, like, you know, well built. This is very, very, very well built on there. So I was very curious to see, you know, this may be a really good deal, you know, considering if you look around a 1x12 cabinet, I mean, even the cheapest, you know, are going for minimum to, you know, $200 and higher, you know, for a real good one. And so I tried this one out, and I think it's really great, and it's something worth showing you guys, you know. Yeah, I was kind of really knocked out by it. I mean, you know, it's a box holding a speaker, basically, but you can tell it's just really well built. I mean, I'm really impressed by that, you know, especially the rounded corners and things. It looks good. It looks good. And easy, you know, to store away or, you know, move around and things, you know, especially if we got a little head, you can bring in the cabinet and the head and move that around very easily. You know, not so much with a 2x12. Inherently, it's going to weigh twice as much and be, you know, at least twice as big, right? So, let's try this out. Okay, and I should mention, and we'll do an example here. I'm going to use it with a Fender Super Champ X2 head, or possibly a combo. And you can run these safely, even though it's a 16 ohm cabinet. the Fender Super Champ X2 combo or head will run with this cab very well. And remember, the Fender Super Champ X2 just has a 10-inch speaker, right? Sad in comparison. Alright. So, we'll see. And here, obviously, yeah, so if you're trying to make it squeal and make people's eardrums bleed and all that stuff, you know, this obviously is in the cab for you. However, if you're looking for quality sound, this may be just the thing. But you decide and let me know what you think. Alright. So hold on, we'll try it here. Okay, so here I've got just very simple test here. Just a Fender Super Champ X2. And I've added just a little bit of reverb, plate reverb to it. But you can hear, so this is with a 10-inch speaker. Now, keep in mind, this particular X2, the speaker is no slouch. I mean, it's a 10-inch Cannabis Rex speaker, Eminence, right? Turn off the reverb. Alright, so this is just straight into the amp here. Okay, and volume-wise, it's pretty loud. If I push that real hard, I'm playing on the neck pickup, but if I pushed it real hard, you know, it'll break up the speaker. So you can hear it there. And usually I play that with reverb, you know, in stereo with another amp. And this is just a 15-watt tube amp, you know, a really expensive one, really. So now, let's plug in the Vox Night Train, right? 12-inch cabinet, bad boy, rock. Alright, let's try it. By the way, did I mention how unusually small it is for a 12-inch speaker cabinet? It's really quite impressive, really. Okay, so I've got it plugged in here, and let's see if there's a difference. nothing to the X2 settings. Right, all I've done is unplug the internal speaker and plug in the cab. And what a difference. It's unbelievable, really. Picking this up or not on the just camera audio, but the difference is night and day, really, to me. I mean, you hear that low end. It sounds louder, clearer, better low end. Fuller and bigger, right? And this is the thing to be careful about. Don't expect to, change a speaker cabinet and expect it to get louder. It's not really about that. It's more clarity, and it does give you kind of a fuller sound, which I guess is the perception is at its volume. And here's just straight into the amp, and then into the Vox Night Train cabinet. I mean, you can still, overdrive the speaker if you push it really hard, it's kind of... That's straight into the amp. I had it set on a reverb I don't really like, so I changed the reverb just on the amp. Okay, that's through the Vox. And now I'm going to play the exact same thing, just with the built-in speaker. So here you go, here's the built-in speaker. Okay. And that's a Cannabis Rex 10-inch speaker. And while it has a lot of low end, it'll still break up if you're not careful. Alright, the Vox Night Train again. see the low end is real, it is controlled, you know, kind of real soft. This is right into the amp, and with pedals. And just for context here, I've added a second amp in stereo, and it's the Supro with a 12-inch speaker as well, and that has a lot of low end too. And together you get this kind of... with a delay pedal. We'll just put on that plate reverb again. So let's take a listen to that. Oh yeah, I mean that's a really quality sound. And I don't know, my camera's having a hard time focusing here. Hold on. Okay, so that's a real quality sound there. Sounds really nice. Just for context, let's try the exact same thing, but I'm going to switch it back to the internal little 10-inch speaker on the X2. Let's hear how that sounds. So to my ears, you know, you lose a lot of the low end, really. You get the low end of the Supro for sure. Supro is super smooth, and for the X2 it seems like you only get the kind of mid-range, and that's about it. And the Supro has a 1x12, you know, and here we're just plugged into the little X2 with a 10-inch speaker. Try it one more time. Okay, and here again everything is exactly the same. So I haven't adjusted volume, you know, to be correct or anything like that. And this is again the Supro and the X2, but this time through the Night Train cabinet. And let's see what that's like. Okay, they got really hot in here, you know, so I've turned on the fan. Whew, perspiring even. Switching out all those things and playing, it was really hot. Okay, here are my thoughts. One, the Supro is just an unbelievable amp. I just love that amp, the sound of it. That's beside the point. What I found is, obviously the Vox Night Train 1x12 added a lot of really nice low end. And when I went back to the little 10-inch speaker, it's like, whoop, it's gone. I still have the mid-range, you know, and the high. And don't forget, this was a Cannabis Rex. This wasn't even the stock speaker on the little X2. 10-inch, you know, speaker. So that made a world of difference. And the other thing is, it really is true that the low end is real controlled and things. Now I found that, you know, with a power rating at, you know, 25 watts, you know, and that's a 15-watt tube amp, you could make it break up just like you would the little 10-inch speaker in that sense, really. If you push it too hard, you know. Now, obviously, I didn't have the optimum, settings on the X2 at all. It didn't change a thing, and I don't know what it was set to, because I haven't really played that one in a while. Man, what a difference. And I'll tell you, to get that quality of a sound in a little tiny, 1x12 cabinet is really sweet. And when you think that if you have two of those in stereo, that'd be a real nice, setup, because you can just carry them in, because they're light enough, instead of, having to carry a, gigantic 2x12 or 4x12. And I found that the sound quality was really good. This was a quality guitar sound. It didn't sound like a cheap speaker, in fact, really, it kind of almost rivaled the Supro sound-wise, a little bit. Not quite, but pretty close, So I'm really impressed by that, the Celestion Greenback speaker. Now, if you wanted to, you could replace it and put in a more expensive speaker, that could handle more watts or what have you, but you would assume that if you were getting this kind of little 112, that usually you'd be playing a little head or whatever. And it's plenty loud, don't get me wrong. It can be very loud. Can you gig with it? Within reason, if your drummer's not John Bonham or something, I think you'd be alright. Yeah, I really like that cabinet. And I love the fact that it's small, but small in a good way, quality-wise. There was absolutely no buzzing of any kind or anything unusual, rattling, or that you would find in cheaper cabinets. So definitely something to look out for, and not all that expensive, considering it. Basically, you can find a used one with the cabinet, for the price of the speaker. If you were to buy just a speaker new. So when you put that into context, it's definitely worthwhile. And these days, when you compare other 1x12 cabinets and their prices, this is an unbelievable bargain, really. They're getting in the $200 to $400, $500 range these days if you were to buy them new anyway. And used, it's kind of hard to find a decent cabinet. And they're all bigger than this little thing, So that makes it very appealing. Alright, very good. See you next time. Bye.